Hello, it's Sunday Fun Day right here on the upper deck. I'm here, so is my partner Jana, and we're gonna break down so much that is broken and needs to be fixed, and some good stuff too. Let's cue the music. Okay, so we made it through the music. A little bit better than last week, but what you gonna do? I'm still a work in progress. How you doing, Jana?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Still fighting the thing. I have to get on the bandwagon with everyone else. So, if I'm sounding like I don't know, anyone old enough to remember Edith Ann from Laughing, that's who I feel like I sound like
Oh
today.
my gosh, I just got over my crap and now I passed it on to you.
I know. I mean, we're partners, but we don't have to share things like that.
Right?
Um, so loud. Boy, the chat is locked and loaded already. I want to say, Lori, you really want that first attendance prize today because you were here at 10 o'clock this morning saying good morning. I saw you. I was here doing things in the back end. Strike Zone, good to see you. NFA, NFE, FJ, Joe, Jonathan, Dev, 90s Yanks kid. Oh, you're here as yourself. Gotcha. Good to see you.
It's me.
Frank, good to see you too. And so let's go off to the races. So there's no better way to start than to talk about John Sterling for a minute. Um, John, I don't know about you. I don't know about the friends in the chat, but I had to give my husband a warning before it started that he is not allowed to make fun of me if I cry. Because I knew I was going to, and he loves doing the thing where he throws me dish towels and man, do not, do not today.
That is hilarious. Yeah, not today. Not today. Yes, it was very emotional, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
just
very heartfelt and seeing Tino Martinez at the end, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, just and he held it together. And so everyone is talking about how emotional it is. Good for him for holding it together. And I think we all learned a lot more about Sterling in terms of by the numbers. And so we know that he started way before times with the from the Yankees. He started with us in '89. And for me, he was really the voice of the Yankees in my adult years.
Mhm.
When so he went with me to the beach to work, driving on trips. And the dynasty years, on every
Yeah.
recording forevermore, it'll be John Sterling's voice. It
Yeah.
was pre-yes years. And so and the 5631 that he wore on his jersey um is actually that the jersey they presented to him, and I thought it was a really nice touch. What was the total of consecutive games that also included all the postseason games. So, and that was from 1989 to 2019. So, yeah, and his total was 5631 altogether till the last game. And I really wish, we knew that it was his last game, but that was probably by design.
Mhm,
Um,
I think so.
yeah, and he was really what really touched my heart, because it gets to my women in baseball feels is that Steinbrenner at 2005 approached him about pairing him with Susan Waldman, and John just automatically said yes, let's do that. And I have a quote from Waldman saying he always gave me space to tell my stories and be emotional like he is. we worked out very well. Yeah. So, what are your feels on Sterling, Shauna? Jonna?
I have a very unique perspective, I think, because he started just a few months after I was born. So I um my quite literally my entire life has been listening to John Sterling and through those dynasty years, and I really feel like the dynasty years were a critical time in my life. I was like 6 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old. I was just kind of like like grasping the concept of baseball and like getting into it, and like what a time to get into baseball, right?
Yeah.
And I was forever solidified in my fandom from then on,
Yeah.
as we all were. But yeah, having John Sterling right alongside of that. And then in my older years, I just tune into Yes Network and watch the broadcast, but I always run straight over to hear what John Sterling's calls are when it's something, like a monumental moment. So like when Judge hit 62, like I just couldn't wait to hear what John Sterling said. And I think we are all the same in that. Um, but it dawned on me last night, like we've heard all these stats, like he never missed one of Jeter's at bats. He never missed any of Mariano Rivera's innings. But what dawned on me is that and I haven't seen this anywhere. I haven't read this anywhere, but it just dawned on me. He called 3 of the 4 perfect games that the Yankees have had.
Wow.
I mean, think about that, because it
Wow.
would have been Don Larson. Obviously, he wasn't around for that, but Wells and Cone and Herman.
That's amazing. Yeah, and so those guys have to be grateful that it was Sterling's voice behind those tremendous moments for them. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So you mentioned uh, his calls, his amazing home run calls. What are your favorites,
Oh
Jonah?
my gosh. It's so hard to pinpoint. My most recently, I love his call for Giancarlo Stanton, and I actually read that he called, I can't remember, like, because it's in Italian, right?
Hmm.
He called a friend from Italy to help him um figure out like what to say for him.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really cool that he went to the depths of, like, bringing friends in to help him, like, perfect, calls there toward the end. And obviously, I think Bernie Williams, "Burn Baby Burn" is always gonna be, like, all of our favorite because that was the first one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think I thought it was so sweet if you saw the video that was going around that, like, well, they played it, I guess, too, where Paul O'Neill and Jeter and Bernie all weighed in and had like a little message for him. But Bernie was like, he just said he was so honored that he was the first one,
You really
and
inspired it.
yeah,
And started what John refers to as a cottage industry.
right. Yeah,
Um,
it was so crazy how it came about so organically. Like he said he
right.
never even thought about it. It just came out, and from there, it just became a thing.
You hear about those inspired moments. He was inspired within somehow,
Yeah.
so wherever that came from. But and I'm wondering in the chat, I'd love to see. We both love to see some of your favorite calls. I think for me, my favorite among my favorites were the ones where he sang, because
Mhm.
that's the other side of him that really endeared me to him, is that he's a Broadway buff like I am. And
Yeah.
so the Grandy man can,
Yeah.
so I really liked that one. Swishalicious has to, has, I can't say it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's up there as like a really fun one. Yeah, and Aaron Judge is just the quintessential. I'm not remembering Jeter's.
Yeah, it was like El Capitan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yep, and A-Bomb from A-Rod,
Mhm.
so anyway, just just an all around, fabulous guy, an inspiration. And, you have the voice of God and Bob Shepard, and the voice of the Yankees with John Sterling. And, Johnny, you probably don't remember Bob Shepard much, although, so, but you hear his in a lot of the Yankeeographies
Yeah.
that you've watched over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely emotional. Definitely like, okay, who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Justin Shackle? I'm still ready for that petition. I want Susan. I want Susan to step into the light a little bit more. I know that she's not necessarily the play-by-play person. She wasn't, she's not used to that, equipped to that. But you know what? She gets first chair in my mind.
I
um,
agree.
and I just hope when they package the new duo, whether it's going to be him or Eduardo, the name's escaping me, the second guy. It's not
Or and the other guy's name's Justin something, isn't it?
Justin Shackle, and then
Yeah.
there's that other guy, but I'm drawing a blank. Yes, I agree, Michael. Good morning, Michael. Yep. Bob Shepard was a legend. Hell, I'm old enough to remember there was an actual organ in Yankee Stadium with an actual organ player. So there you go. So anyway, um, well, let's just go on to trivia question of the week from our friend Spencer, who continues to contribute. So, right on time here. This week, we learned that John Sterling has retired as the longtime radio play by play announcer for the Yankees. Who was his first Yankees broadcast partner in 1989? So, just chew on that. It's going to be harder for some of you than others. I'm looking at my partner, but there it is. And FJ, you're right. Wow. Susan was the first voice ever heard on WFAN in 1986. Wow. So all the more like, okay, give her the golden mic, and let her lead. Um and so Michael, hey Michael, um he's saying Sterling didn't call her mom's perfect game. I believe it was Justin Shackle. Well, you know what? Good.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't deserve Sterling's voice.
True. But I mean, he was around and he was calling games during that time. So I
Right.
guess there's something.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well then I guess time for some hot takes. Um, Jonna, do you have a hot take for the week?
I have to think about mine a little bit, I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let me spill mine out. And chat, this is for you to engage in too, please, because I'm stealing mine from Joe Randazzo. And for those of you on Twitter, Yankees Twitter, you're likely to know the name or follow him. His @ is librarian Joe underscore. So here's what he said after the game. Aaron Judge said he'd boo himself after the Yankees lost. That's my captain. He knows he kind of stinks right now. One thing I'll say about the boos is fans are locked into the Yankees and it's April. Better that there's better that than no noise and apathy. Booing is a fan love language. You do it because you care. Leave the tepid reactions for the small markets and the flyover states. I think that is a hot take. And
Yeah.
so the replies to it were predictably split. Um, my reaction yesterday to the booing was outrage. That I'm like, we don't do that to the captain. That was first and foremost. Like, this is our captain, for crying out, Pete. You do not
Mhm.
boo the captain, and you don't boo him on his friggin' bobblehead day, for crying out loud. And
Yeah.
he doesn't suck. He is a human being and he's in a slump. So, but then other people are saying, is it better to like just be silent and we're Yankee fans, we're known for this, and um I think the players needed to drive them on. And then there was somebody that said, well, that drove Gallo right out of New York.
Yeah.
So it's really one of those hot takes that I thought was, he's adamant about it. People in the chat were on his side saying, look, they're paid to perform. They're putting a product in front of it. If we don't like it as consumers, we have the right to say something about it. And Lori's saying, should we boo? Nah, probably not, but fans do have the right to cheer or boo. You got to take the good with the bad. And you're not wrong. There's no right or wrong answer here. And Lori, I know coming up for me, boos were prevalent. It didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if you were Thurman Munson. You were boos for a bad at bat. Guys got booed. So, and FJ is saying best players have been booed in New York. Mansell, Mariano, even Jeter. No one is immune. Yep. Morning, Frederick. Good to see you. And here's Uncle Tats. Tats, how you doing? Tats was in the house yesterday. I was
Yeah,
jello.
he was.
I was jelly. While I'm not one to boo a player this early in the season, but no player is above booing when it's warranted. Oh, so that's the other criteria I saw in responses to Joe, was it's April. It's a little early. Maybe when things get more, intense and you're worried about not getting the trophy. But so that's sort of what I put out there for the hot take of the week.
Yeah, I like that. That is such a hot take. It's very controversial.
Hmm.
And I understand players were like nobody's immune to it. Um, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for saying this. Like, well, I guess like where it applies to Judge, he knows that that's a thing, and like I really do think it probably fuels him. Like he knows what comes with being in New York, and he took less money to be here, knowing that. Um, but some players, yeah, like it's not effective for. It wasn't effective for Hicks. It wasn't effective for Gallo. It wasn't effective for Josh Donaldson. Maybe we weeded out some bad ones there. I don't know, but
Right.
I mean, I also think like we're human, and
Yeah.
like to me, it's fine for a little bit, but when it goes on and on and on all season long, and like we even did it to Hicks when he came back as an Oriole, I don't
Yeah.
love it. I
No, that to me, that's less classy. That's even
Yeah,
less classy than booing your own.
yeah,
Um,
agreed.
yeah, and yet what people have to remember is, for all the lauding we're giving, and rightfully so, to Soto, he's gonna slump, people. Players
Yeah,
slump. Are you
yeah,
gonna boo Soto? You
I
better be
know.
prepared to by that philosophy then. Because then, no one's immune. Then, the second coming, player here is gonna get it. So, and the Judge is our captain in every single way. For him to say after the game that he would have booed himself, I mean, that's what Judge would say. And
That's taking a page out of Stanton's book, which I like. Those guys, they're accountable. They hold themselves accountable.
100%. Yep. And FJ, you're totally right. You have to. I love how you put it. Instead of saying thick skin, if your skin is thinner than gossamer, that's poetic. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So absolutely. And Michael saying, yeah, there was no happiness yesterday. I'd love for Tats to jump in and tell us what the swear level was at the end of the game yesterday in the stadium. But if I was there, I might have do it after the fourth strikeout. Yeah. It was a lot to take in yesterday, that's for sure. Um, in terms of performance or lack thereof yesterday. Um, so and overall, before I pivot to yesterday's game, which I do think warrants discussion. Um, let's just pause and think about the fact that not only are we no longer the best team in the MLB anymore, we're the fourth best. Um, and that's really directly, really, we've been crying about the pitching, but it's the cold bats. For the past week and a half, it's the cold bats. So ahead of us are the Braves, Guardians, and Brewers. And guess what? We're facing the Brewers next weekend.
Mm.
And in terms of our division, you all know this. You're all more knowledgeable than I am. That the standings are tight in our division.
Yeah.
So, and really the Orioles are like, but 2/10 of a point behind us. So, we gotta get down to business with the A's. We have 4 opportunities against the A's, um, and then 3 with the Brewers, and the Brewers aren't going to be escape. It seems, at least by the numbers. So, let's talk about. Go ahead,
Sorry,
please.
real quick while we're talking about like stat or rankings and all that. One thing I found very interesting, I was looking just this morning at where we stand on batting average. We stand at 19, not great, right?
No,
But what's really wild about that is we rank 23rd in strikeouts. So although our batting average is not great, our strikeout rate is not bad, like, which is wild, right?
right.
Um, and we rank 7 in on base percentage right now. So that's promising. I
So
feel like
that's
even though
that's
Judge is down, Glaber's down, like we have numbers that are improving, and that's on base percentage, and that's really like that's all you can ask for right now.
yeah, 100%. Those are no, that's the number you want to hear. It makes me wonder and want to look up after what our RISP is.
Yeah,
And what that might take away from it. Sorry, I don't mean to burst a bubble. I want to stick with the good sounding numbers. But, we've also been, again, stranding guys
yeah.
when we do manage to get on base. Yesterday was not the day, obviously, with the pitcher's duel that went on. And I want Eflin tomorrow. Um, I know I don't have his stats in my head or anything like that, but he was pretty damn impressive yesterday, and that combined with the no hitting thing made it even better for him. And okay, now I'm wondering, is he that good or is it just that we're just so bad? Maybe it's that.
We
But
manage to make guys look like Cy Youngs at times.
yeah, seriously. I mean, our Volpe and Judge and Volpe and Judge were 4-0 yesterday. And Verdugo, I should say 0 for 4, all 3 of them. Rizzo was only one for 4, and Soto, thank God, split the difference, 2 and 4. So, and when you look at Nestor's lines, what'd you see in Nestor yesterday, Jonna?
Oh my gosh, he looked filthy. That was his best outing of the year, and I'm so like angry to the core that we couldn't provide him some runs. Like he he looked great, I thought.
Yeah, and yeah, he looked. Yeah, Strike Zone is saying Eflin had 6 Ks. Okay, yeah, and he went less innings than Nestor did. I think he was out after the 6th. But yeah, so I got his final line right here. First of all, he made it through 7, so that's another improvement. And 6 hits, no earned runs, no base on balls, and 9 Ks. Absolutely, dare I say, sterling performance. Yeah, and it's just a shame. I'm very glad that Ferguson got the L on it, and Ferguson's another one to talk about because what the
Oh my
hell?
god. I
Um,
knew right away when we brought Clay out in the ninth that this is exactly what was going to happen because we did the exact same thing against the Guardians last Sunday, and that's how it panned out.
yeah,
Clay came out, pitched a clean ninth inning. We brought Ferguson in the 10th, and boom, done.
right.
I just don't think
Yep.
he can handle the pressure of having the ghost runner on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, but he better get used to it. If he's gonna be our closer. And then and then the 10th was just a nightmare. And so, what do you think about, I mean, at least we could say we're not getting swept, thank God. But I don't know about today.
Yeah, our offense has just got to pick it up. Like our pitching actually is not the problem at all. If you look at this last week, we actually had a really great our starting rotation was hot this week. They were great. Clark had a good outing too.
Yes.
Um, he had 7 strikeouts and 5 and a third innings, which he's got to go. He's got to last longer than that, right? But
Right.
um, that's kind of a problem
Yep.
because then we're burning up the bullpen. But
Uh,
yeah, the bats they've got to get going.
Yeah, and I would say that that's the best I've seen of Schmidt, I think. This, he really, um I agree. I was sometimes I'm still a little bit nervous with him, but he's looking more and more confident. So and now today we have Heel. So
Yeah.
his last outing is not what we wanted.
Mm.
So what are we thinking about that? What's everyone thinking about it while John and I talk about it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
He makes me nervous. He's a head case, I think.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
That's the theme that I seem to be seeing from him.
Yeah.
He's kind of immature. Like I think he's got to grow into the maturity of like, you don't get a call your way, like you got to work around that. You learn that from a young age in playing sports. You can't control what the umpires are going to do and what the refs are going to do. You got to work with it, you know.
100%. And you're absolutely spot on with, it was like petulance from him. Like a baby getting, scolded
Yeah.
in the dugout. And yeah, talk about what was it that FJ said about the gossamer wings of the
Yeah.
skin? He really needs to grow some epidermal layers and some cojones and just like settle and not be so rocked because he's going to be rocked. And so he needs to look at his friend Nestor, who, tends to just keep keep the cool. Maybe sit next to him more than Rodon. Although Rodon's been great with mentally so far this season, but um, yeah, it's not who I want to see. I'd much prefer to see Stroman or Rodon today, than Heel. But I'm ready to be surprised. I'm ready to be delighted and
Yeah.
eat those words tomorrow. And I see some people creeped in. Hey, Jason, 140, 161st. Good to see you. Hey, D Rod, you crept in. Um, so, and then by the way, everyone could relax. Judge is not DHing today. He's playing in the field. If you didn't get a chance to see the lineup, so the usuals. And Stanton is back DHing. Um, Literally every bat that we got going in there needs to do something, unless their name is Soto. Trevino's catching. He really has not been producing at all. And so maybe we'll be relying on Cabrera and Soto, but that's what we got there.
I
Um,
will say Trevino had a better week this week than he had had. He did have that clutch hit against the tying run against the Blue Jays the other day, and then Judge is the one who hit the 2-run single. But
yeah, NFE is right with you on that. Um,
yes, the strike zone last Sunday going into that game, Trevino's batting average was like .0. I don't remember 5, 6 something. It was terrible. Um, so he's getting there. He did
yeah,
get on base a lot more this week.
yeah, and he he was typing the same thing as you were saying it. I think, yeah, it was below
Yeah.
100 at one point. And now up to 242. So, small sample sizes, but we'll take it. It's emblematic. So let's run with it. I'm optimistic about him, and I also agree with Lori that Wells needs a bit more consistent playing time. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Because they're going to play the guys that are producing first of all, and Wells has been in lukewarm territory. And also pitchers have their preferences, and so some of them
Right.
are just automatically going to be Trevino.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely agree that that's really always the trick. Look at Cabrera. Look at like our clutch guy.
Yeah.
Now that he's been playing, virtually every game, you
Right.
know, um, it does make a difference. But we have a lot of people, and
Yeah, I don't know if it was Michael K or who I was hearing yesterday talk about this, how young guys like Wells, they struggle with coming up and doing the whole platoon thing because they're just not used to that. And so there's an adjustment period there. And then the veterans are used to it.
yeah. Oh, D-Rod, you're funny. Got the joke. Never understood why Luke likes it warm all the time. Huh? Okay. Dad jokes in the house.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so you and NFE Strike Zone there are really of the same mind. Um yeah, sending him back down, that somebody must have mentioned that in the chat. No, no, I definitely not setting him down. Let him platoon and get used to it, because that's always the cadence anyway.
That's my
Um,
thought, like, why I don't wanna send him down and have him get used to, like, playing all the time, then come back and he's platooning again, and, there's another like, just let him ride it out. He'll find it.
exactly, and and we're just gonna have to, um, next guy up, right? So like, it's not gonna be you all the time. It's not gonna be Trevino all the time. And sometimes it'll be neither one of you. Let's hope not, because that'll mean something else. But um, yeah, but everyone's talking about has three of Caleb Ferguson has 3 of the 7 losses we've had.
Mhm.
Okay, from FJ. Yep. So it's telling a little tale, a little story starting to be written here. We'll have to see what the fate of Ferguson's going to be. And we're going to have Birdie out for a bit still. 15 days, and so um, but no telling on an actual return date. We brought Cody Morris up. I haven't seen him utilized yet.
Yeah.
Um, and I did not like what I saw from Trammell yesterday when they brought him in. First of all, Verdugo would have had that ball.
Yeah.
That there was no excuse to let that bounce. And just like, here you are up in the show, and this is what you're giving us. Not a good introduction. I'm already just decidedly not a fan. Might even have booed him if I was there.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a flashback to, like, Hicks being out there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hicks
Yeah.
vibes for sure. Doo, doo, doo. Oh,
Uh-huh.
it's coming a little short. I'll get it on the hop. No, no. That ain't it, kid.
No.
So, Birdie's out 15 days retroactive to 417. Yeah. Yeah, I had read that too, NFE. I just always feel like that's always such a guesstimate, at that it's never the 15th day. And look at what we're still hearing about DJ. Everything's healed, but his doctors don't think he's ready. What the hell does that mean even? What
Right?
does that mean? Could someone
Yeah, I mean, when
translate?
they preface it with the doctor, they did an X-ray and they didn't like what they saw. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah. I I don't, to me that's like, that is so sus. I just, no, that does not make me feel good at all. And so he came to the stadium ready to play, and allegedly, and might have a sim game next week. Um I don't know. I don't
Oddly,
know.
it was odd because Brian Hoke was just saying like Thursday, he's like DJ looks good, he's running good, he's like fielding really good. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. And then if my answer is, why not give him the Hicks treatment? Yeah, he was only there for 2 minutes, but this could be your shot. Could be your shot. And I would have much more grace if he had dove for it than if he just waited for the bounce. This is your opportunity, kid. And so I don't mind giving him a little treatment, but you're nicer than me. You always were, NFE. Um Oh, Lou, you missed. Hi, Lou, by the way. Welcome to the show. So glad you're here, but you missed our hot take segment. That segment's already gone. But that is a burning hot take, and it's also a bad, terrible take. We've had a few of you around this neighborhood, Lou. Um, Go check out his numbers. Um, go check out every little stat on him and how he's been clutch and how he's been high performing leadoff man, that has always been relied on, and his super utilityness and everything else. And would love to hear your opinion next week after you do your homework. I grade on a curve, so don't worry. But
Yeah,
do a
I
little
agree.
diving.
Strike Zone says DJ's defense is missing and it's clear right now. That I totally agree with. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that's not a knock on Cabrera. We just, I mean, we
And
need the
not at
gold
all. He
glove.
hasn't even really been the problem. It's just
Yeah, we need the gold gloveness.
we need
We,
that leadership out there too, you
that's
know?
right. The leadership, the gold glove. That's another thing for your book, Lou. Gold glove winner and DJ. Might even, was there a platinum in his arsenal already? Um, yeah, award winning. Yeah, so that's a story there. But speaking of how we're not sending some guys back down to the farm, Jonna, you had some things to tell us about minor league teams.
Yes, I don't know if you all are following our minor league teams, but you need to because they are killing it and they're fun to follow. Um, Hudson Valley walked it off 3 games in a row this week, which was like so fun. And their social media page is awesome. They're hilarious. They handle things a little bit differently than the majors. They're funny. Um, so they are now 9-4. The Renegades are. The
Nice.
Rail Riders are 13-6. Cody Petit had his first start with them last night, and he retired the first 10 out of 11 batters. So he's still raking down there. I would love to see him called back up. He absolutely he got his first win with us. He got his first win with the Rail Riders. I would love to see him back.
Well, let's see how Heel does.
Yeah.
um, because yeah, I mean that's all exciting stuff, and you're 100% right. It's so much fun to go to those minor league games. And the two you mentioned, for anyone not in New York City proper, but like the tri-state area, they're not far trips. The Hudson Valley Renegades are up in Poughkeepsie. That is a very pleasant train ride up the Hudson. It'll take you like maybe 90 minutes max to get there. And I've been there. It's an adorable stadium, and the crowd is different, and it's a little hometown vibe, and just a lot of fun. I'm glad you brought that. I think we should be pivoting more to like the ML, the minor league guys. So maybe that'll be more of a part of our Sundays together, is
Yeah.
taking a look at that. And so, yep, and Strike Zone is saying go Poteet. Yeah, I mean, he got my vote his last outing up. So, um, I'm all for him, despite all the funny names I gave him when he first came in.
I think the
Um,
other thing I read, sorry, the other
yeah,
Cody Petit was that he made it 6 1/3 innings last night, which was the longest that any of their starting pitchers have made it. So, yeah,
right,
that's good.
right. Um, Str- um, Strike Zone wants to know if you put a lot of focus into the minor league players.
I've been hit or miss a lot of years, but this year in particular, I've been paying a little bit more attention to them.
What got you into doing that, Jana?
Honestly, their social media accounts are amazing. They're fun to follow, they're hilarious, and that's kind of like what drew me in to start with. But also like I've just been way more invested in the Yankees in the last 5 years since I like got out of college and was able to afford the MLB TV and all of that. And so
Right.
that's when I was able to like watch every game and just be a little bit more invested. And that investment like grows and grows, and like now I'm invested in the whole system and watching, to see when these guys are going to come back up. And when a player gets called up, like I don't like it when I don't know anything about them. or
Right.
if I've never heard of them before. So I want to at least like familiarize a little bit.
And I'm already learning a lot from you, Jana, from the time that we've done shows together and have spoken with each other. Um,
Likewise.
as well, thank you, but I'd be more the Susan of the duo here. I'm
Absolutely not.
um, no, but you're actually speaking about goals I've had for a long time and just haven't gotten to, and feel guilty about not getting to, because no, you're not guilty. Guilty is not the right word, but you know, I, I I'm that kind of a fan, but I'm not doing the things that I want to do to go so much deeper.
It's
So
hard. It's really
yeah,
hard to keep track even like of just our own team, right? Like playing
yeah,
every single day and
yeah,
keeping track of the league too. So it's a
yeah.
time suck for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not a numbers person. I didn't get that side of the brain when I was online. God said God got distracted. And you know, that brain is that side of the brain's kind of empty. So the way you and my friends in the chat and so many spit out all the stats and historical stats or stats of other teams. I'm like, I can't even remember my Gmail password.
No, I'm definitely the same way. You remember what you want to remember, right? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, but I do want to remember. So anyway, I'm really excited to you're inspiring me, and hey, even if you're coming in from out of town to see a game, remember what I just said. It's an excursion from the city. To go to a Renegades game, go to Somerset, and also, by the way, the Cyclones out in Coney Island. It's a Mets farm team. That is that is a beautiful ballpark. It's right on the ocean. And you're looking out at the outfield, and the ocean is behind you. They have commercials during the game, like the local hardware store comes out with like a washer machine and raffles it off. They don't have dancers like the Mets. They don't have the whatever those Mets dancers are called. But it's just fun and it's a family thing. So yeah, you've been NFE, yeah, so much fun. NFE approved.
Speaking of minor league systems, I just watched a documentary last night, and I'm gonna blank on what was the name of the documentary we watched last night. It was 50 years, something like that. I'll think of it and I'll bring it next week and I'll put it in the chat or whatever.
Oh yeah, tell us
What?
about it.
Oh, 50 Summers. It was 50 Summers.
50 Summers. Why have I heard that? What channel was that on?
It's on Netflix, and it was actually kind of about like Omaha and the evolution of baseball here, and like how the Omaha, the reason it's called 50 Summers, Omaha and the Royals have had the longest relationship in like between a city and a 50 Summers. Omaha and the Royals, the Kansas City Royals, have had the longest standing relationship between a city and like having their affiliation team there. And which they said played a big role in keeping the College World Series here. So, but it was very fascinating because they talked a lot about not just like Omaha and the Royals system. They talked about the minor league system in general and how, like they had to bring some of those fun entertainment aspects into it to draw the crowd in because people are busy watching their major league teams. And so to get fans into the minor league system, they had to kind of like integrate more of the fun entertainment stuff, which they've done an incredible job, I think, with that.
It to me, it's definitely working, and the product is less expensive too.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a family of 4 to go, you don't have to worry about paying your mortgage that month.
Yeah, totally.
And that makes a difference. So you're still out seeing a fun game. You're still getting the opportunity to teach your kid how to do a scorecard and about the game itself. So absolutely. Yeah, so I think that we are just about at the end for today, and by that it means I need to give you the answer to Trivia Spencer. To Trivia Spencer. All right, well, I'll call him Trivia Spencer. To Spencer's trivia question of the week. So the question was, who was Sterling's first Yankees broadcast partner? It was Jay Johnstone. I don't remember that, but as I think was mentioned on one of the many interviews yesterday, he had a flurry of broadcast partners until like a good stretch with Kay, and then of course past 20 with Susan. But the first one was Jay Johnstone. So Spencer, if you're listening, thank you again for continuing to support and be a part of the show with us. So Jonna, what's your last thoughts as we head into this last game with the Rays, and then how are you feeling about A's and Brewers?
My thoughts are, please win the series. Let's not lose the second series. And yeah, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks because we have obviously the four games against the A's at home, but then we head out on the road for a little over a week and a day. So that'll be interesting to see how that all goes. Hopefully we don't get caught back on our heels against the A's. You never know,
Yeah, I mean we can't be complacent. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. Not with the numbers we're putting up lately.
Right.
We better go in like we're facing Toronto again, and we want to teach them a lesson what they did to us earlier this week. Yeah, strike zone. I agree. It's going to be tight. Nervous about Heel. And the bats. Yesterday I wasn't nervous about Nestor. Today I'm nervous about both sides of the game. So it is going to be tight. So I'm with you all that. And Joe, I'm with you. Yeah. It shouldn't be hard because he had none last time. So I hope there is better control from him today. And we should sweep the A's. We absolutely should. Let it be so. Yeah, and you're right. I think Oh, and strike zone. Brewers towards the end of the week then travel to Baltimore next. Baltimore, who is not only nipping on our heels, they're already stepping on our toes. That's how close we are to losing first place. So that's gonna be key. And the Brewers are the first in the NL Central. Um, there's that. So that's not necessarily going to be easy either. And last but not least, of course, strike zone. It has not been an easy schedule, and we can't consider it any of it easy. So let's just see how it goes. But one game at a time,
Yeah.
and let's just assume we're going to feel great all the way through to the top of the ninth, with no bottom of the ninth necessary today.
Yeah, we really need to start getting things going earlier in the game. It's like it's such a long game and such a boring game when we don't do anything until like the eighth, ninth inning.
Yeah, I mean pitcher duels are great, but yeah, they're a bit of a slog because there's really just no action. So let's just see some action. And you're right, set that tone. You bite first, get the crowd going, and not booing, and just win. So thanks to everyone in the chat for being with us this week, like you are every week. Jonna, thank you so much. Best hostess in the world.
Yeah.
And as always, you all have a reserved seat with Jonna and me right here on the upper deck. Let's go, Yankees!
Go Yanks!